What's up, everybody? Nico Dwyer back for the 10th inning with another episode of This Day in Sports History. In yesterday's episode, we saw Manny being Manny in 2004 when David Newham would hit it inside the park home run at Fenway after cutting off Johnny Damon from left field. We don't have Manny being Manny today, but we have a lot to get into, including the first member of the 3,000 Strikeout Club, some more Tour de France's to talk about, and some British Opens to get into. So if y'all enjoy this video, leave a like on it. If you're new to the channel, like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Let's get to it. This Day in Sports History. It seems like we have a bit of a rarity to start off today's video. Unlike some of the past episodes, we start in the 20th century. And in 1905 in Major League Baseball, Weldon Hanley would no-hit the St. Louis Browns in the athletic 6-0 victory. Henley in the game, no walks allowed, but the team did have one error to ruin the chance for a perfect game. 7 years later in 1912, the 5th Summer Olympic Games in Stockholm would close with the USA having the most gold medals at 25, but Sweden winning the overall medal count at 65. Moved to 1921 at the US Open, Jim Barnes, with a score of 9 over, would win his third of 4 major titles, 9 strokes ahead of runners-up Walter Hagen and Fred McLeod. 2 years later in 1923 at the Tour de France, Henri Pellissier would win his only Tour victory. Also in 23, in Major League Baseball, Walter Johnson would strike out his 3,000th batter, becoming the first member of the club and the last member until 1974 when Bob Gibson would join. We move up nearly 40 years now to 1962 at the PGA Championship. Gary Player, with a score of 2 under, would win 1 stroke ahead of runner-up Bob Golby to win his third of 9 majors. Move up 1 year to 1963 in boxing. In the second matchup between these two, Sonny Liston would once again knock out Floyd Patterson in 1 round, this time to retain the heavyweight title in his first offense. We move to 1972 at the Tour de France, and Eddie Merckx would take home his 4th consecutive general classification title, as well as his 4th of 5 overall victories. 1 year later, we stay with the Tour, and Luis Otana would win his only Tour title. Also in 73 at the US Open on the women's side, Susie Maxwell Burning, with a score of 2 over, would win 5 strokes ahead of runners-up Gloria Ahert and Shelley Hamlin to win her 3rd national title. Back to the Tour in 1979, and Bernard Hinault would win his 2nd of 5 overall. We moved to 1984 at the British Open, and Seve Ballesteros, with a score of 12 under, would win his 2nd of 3 Open titles and 4th of 5 majors, 2 strokes ahead of runners-up Bernard Langer and Tom Watson. Also in 84 at the Tour de France, Laurent Fignon would win his 2nd of 2 Tour victories. Finally in 84 at the 22nd Tennis Fed Cup, the Czech team would defeat Australia in Sao Paulo 2-1 to win their 3rd of 11 titles. We move back to the British Open in 1990, and Nick Faldo would win his 2nd of 3 Open championships, 5 strokes ahead of runners-up Mark McNulty and Payne Stewart. Back to the Tour in 1990, Greg LeMond would get his 3rd and final Tour victory. 7 years later, we have something every pitcher strives for in Major League Baseball when Greg Maddux would throw a complete game with just 76 pitches. On the day, 9 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. Craziest thing, only 13 balls in the whole game. And the Braves also picked up a 4-1 victory over the Cubs on the day. But we go back to the British Open in 2001, and David Duval, with a score of 10 under, would win his only major title, 3 strokes ahead of runner-up Nicholas Fast. 6 years later in 2007, stay at the British Open, Padraig Harrington, with a score of 7 under, would defeat Sergio Garcia by 1 stroke after a 4-hole playoff to claim his first of 3 majors, also becoming the first Irish-born player to win the Open in 60 years. We move up to 2012, stay at the British Open. Ernie Els, with a score of 7 under, would win 1 stroke ahead of runner-up Adam Scott to claim his 4th and final major. Remain in 2012, and in cricket, Hashim Amla would get 311 runs in South Africa's inning becoming the first South African to score a triple century in Test cricket. Remaining in 2012 at the 99th edition of the Tour de France, Bradley Wiggins would get his only tour victory. Finally, in 2012, in Major League Baseball, Ron Santo, who ended up passing away in 2010, would posthumously be inducted into the Hall of Fame, as well as Barry Larkin. Now we move up to 2017. In the British Open, Brendan Grace would record the lowest round for a men's major championship ever, with a 62 in the third round of the British Open. We end today's video off with two events from 2018. First, at the British Open, Francesco Molinari, with a score of 8 under, would win 2 strokes ahead of runners-up Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose, becoming the first Italian to win a major title. This would be his only major in his career thus far. Then finally, in the WNBA, Seattle Storm guard Sue Bird would play in a record 500th WNBA game in a loss to the Atlanta Dream 87-84. Bird would end up with 508 career games in her career. She would retire after the 2018 season. So there you have it. That's what happened on this day in sports history. If I left anything out, I do apologize. If I mispronounced any names, I also apologize. Hope everybody out there is having a great one. For Nick Wire in the 10th inning. See ya.